Welcome to the Caroline Pennington Show. This podcast is all about learning and growing professionally so that we can build a life that we are proud of and really love. My name is Caroline, and I'm a social media marketing expert obsessed with helping small business owners start, grow, and scale their business and personal brands online through using the power of social media. This podcast is all about sharing our stories and learning from each other on how to navigate our professional journey so that we can live our best lives. So if you're just starting out or starting and scaling an epic company, you're in the right place, friend. Today, I have Jen Barnes with me. Jen is a travel expert, and she is the founder of Go Family Adventure. Go check her out online. You can find her on Instagram or LinkedIn. She designs thoughtful, elevated travel rooted in meaningful experiences for all couples, families, groups, and all the above. So you're in for a treat today. Welcome, Jen.
Hey, Caroline. Thanks for having me.
So you and I met, I meet most people online. And I've been following you for a while, both on LinkedIn and on Instagram. And I love the work that you're doing. And so you're a travel expert. You're the founder of Go Family Adventure. Tell me about how did you get into this industry, starting your own agency, all the things.
Yes, I think it is probably like most people when you have a hobby or something that you love so much, it turns into what you end up doing for a living. I'm sure you've heard that before. It is something that has just always been a huge passion of mine. I studied abroad when I was in college and totally got the travel bug. That was a little while ago, not super recent. But, I think that once I had kids and started my family and I wanted to take them all these incredible places, I started having friends asking me, how are you doing this? How did you pick this place? How did you know what to do? And the truth is I just was the one that was willing to put all the time and the effort into researching it and planning it and making it happen. And so during COVID, I think this is probably also a really common thread with people. I ended up just realizing that my kids were going to be out of the house sooner than later. And I wanted something that was for me that I could start to build for after they were gone. And so that's how everything kind of got started.
I love that. And I love that you talk about the research and all of that, because I love that piece too. And that's originally why I reached out to you, is because I love doing it, but I don't have time to do it right now. So that's why having a resource like someone like you is so beneficial and so helpful. Okay, so the best times of year, like fall, spring, summer, what are the best things to do with traveling for those seasons?
Gosh, that's a huge question.
So I guess it depends on what you're into. Like if you want to go out to wine country, when's the best time to do that? Or if you want to go, we've always traveled to the Caribbean in the summertime because it's cheaper.
Yeah.
It's just,
absolutely.
But not everyone can bear the heat,
Right. Yeah. There's so much to take into consideration. And I think that all travel is worth it. So even if you're going in the off season or what we call shoulder season, there are things to do all across the world. And I don't necessarily think that peak season is always the right for every single person. I know that with families, everybody is a little bit attached to the school calendars and have schedules that they have to maintain with their kids. And so that is a real thing. So everybody's competing for the same hotels and the same destinations on certain dates. But gosh, I am hugely promoting right now, trying to travel to Europe during Thanksgiving week, because it's a time when people are getting a longer break. And the temperatures and the crowds, quite frankly, are a lot more bearable at Thanksgiving than they are at the summer. So I just think that there are ways to pivot every destination to make it be what you want it to be.
Okay, let me back up 1 second. What is shoulder season?
So shoulder season in the industry is largely thought of as a time when it is in between the peak seasons. So if let's just take Europe, for example. You've got a lot of destinations that are prime for winter ski or winter sports. And so they have huge influx of inquiries to come in like through the winter for those people who are looking for that type of a trip. And then, of course, you've got your peak summer season for anybody who's looking for Mediterranean, beach, even like city destinations that are super popular in the summertime. So anything that falls in between those two seasons is considered to be shoulder season. With climate change, not to like totally bring in like that whole thing, but it is a real thing in travel. Those seasons are starting to shift a little bit. And so you've got warmer Mediterranean seas that go like into October. And so October is starting to extend into being a little bit more peak season. And so shoulder season is starting to like squeeze down like a little bit just because of climate change. But yeah, it's anything that's kind of in between those two peak seasons.
Okay, I never would have thought about that. Climate change affecting travel. I guess we've been out to Hawaii and seen the whales when they've migrated. I guess that would be an example of something that climate change might make a shift with or extend the time out or whatever.
Yeah. Another really interesting just thing that I think people are starting to really pay attention to is if you're really into wine, which I think you are, that is like crush season is happening much earlier because the temperatures are getting so hot that even like California, France, all the Italy, all those popular places for wine, they're having to do their harvest season and their crush season a lot earlier. And so those are happening in August now for the most part, whereas it used to be they were happening later in September. And so it's a huge shift for a lot of different industries.
I saw something online the other day. I think it was a video clip on Instagram about someone was saying something about how the new generation, I think the Gen X coming up, they now budget for 30% travel. Are you seeing that too with all the work that you're doing?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. I'm having more Gen X actually, and even Gen Zs that are coming to work with an advisor to get that extra hand-holding help. I think that what we saw as Gen Xers, I'm a Gen Xer, what we saw as Gen Xers from our parents was that they never took time off. My parents never took time off. They worked themselves to the bone. They were just grinders, and they didn't really build that like that mental break into their life for themselves or even for their families. And I think we all saw that and we're like, I don't want to do that. And then because we've made that a priority, my kids who are Gen Z are making that a priority as well.
I love that. So go into too, like your personal experiences or what your clients experience. Like, what are the benefits of traveling?
Well, everybody has a different philosophy about traveling with kids. We always felt that the earlier we could start traveling with our kids and giving them experiences, the better off that they would be and the more confident that they would be. And I've definitely seen that come true. I see a lot of people talking about how it's a waste to travel with young children because they won't remember it. But my opinion about that is that they're my memories too. So if I want to take my kids and expose them to something and travel with them, those are also my memories as a parent. And so it was less and less about my kids actually remembering every detail of a trip that we might have taken them on. And so I kind of try to, I'm like a challenger. I don't know if you're super familiar with the Enneagram, but I'm an 8 on the Enneagram, which is I basically challenge everything because I want things to be as excellent as they can possibly be. And so, when people come at me with something that's like, well, I heard this or somebody else said this, I'm like, is that really true? Like, or does that need to be true for you? It's okay to have an experience or take your kids or go somewhere with your husband that somebody else has never done. Like, it's okay. You have these things that are inside of you and the way that you want to raise your family. And like, you should do it. You have my permission to do it. So like, go for it, So that's always been my philosophy. And I tend to work with a lot of couples and a lot of families who are willing to kind of like go a little bit outside the box.
Okay, I love that. And I am an Enneagram fan, and I actually am an 8 too. So we're fellow 8ers
That's
over here.
awesome.
No.
Yes, Lady Eights.
So I get it, is what I'm saying. I get the challenging. I get the, okay, well, why don't we think about it this way? Because, it's all different. So, okay, I want your opinions for best destinations for women traveling solo, couples. I know it's subjective. Like, do you want to be active on the trip or do you want to like be sedentary and sit on a beach? There's that. And then families with small children versus multi-generational. You've done a lot of posts recently online about the Christmas and the markets in Europe. And I love that because I never would have thought about that. Like, okay, we need grandma to be happy, but then we need like little Susie Q to like work around nap time or whatever. So
yeah. Okay, gosh, I don't have like perfect destination. I've never planned the same trip twice. So every client that comes to me is a totally personalized and customized situation. And so I might have a multi-gen family that comes to me and they do want to do something like the Christmas markets. And so the way that I sort of approach that type of a trip is to say, okay, I think, mornings are best for wandering the quiet streets within the city that has those markets because little ones are awake and they're ready to get going. And then maybe everybody else meets for lunch because they don't want to get up early. And then you have rest time in the middle of the day and so forth and so on. And so we just kind of approach each situation as it comes. So I don't know that I have like a perfect destination for everybody. I tend to look at like when a client comes to me and they have an idea, they have envisioned something, or they have seen something on Instagram that has inspired them. I try to take that vision and say, what is actually like, how can we make that happen for you? How do you look at that perfectly clear blue water destination and make it for you? And so that tends to be my approach. I don't know, like, I hate to prescribe like a specific thing that I think is perfect for certain people. Obviously, there are I'll give you one example. If a family comes to me and they have like preteen age children or, like young teenage children, my number one recommendation for them is Costa Rica. And the reason is because you get a bunch of like really fun activities that you can do together as a family that gives a little bit of adventure. It kind of takes everybody a little outside of their comfort zone. And then you add in the beach destination part of it too. And so you get to, you have like a really good mix. And like, there is not a single family that has not come back to me and said that was an absolute win. And so I will say like, that is a perfect destination for people with like preteen and young teenage kids, hands down. But I mean, I also have like totally convinced a couple to do it for their honeymoon. So it's not one or the other, but that is a good example of like a perfect sweet spot.
Okay, so for everyone listening to, if they have not worked with a travel expert concierge or someone who owns a travel business, tell me what that experience is like and the benefits of the partnership.
Yeah, I think I would say 99% of my clients come to me because they are overwhelmed. It is not because they can't do the work themselves. It's either, or sometimes both, it's either they just don't have the bandwidth to do it. They're a dual working family. They may or may not have kids still in the house, but at any rate, they're spending their days working. And by the time that they get home and they do all the things they have to do at home, they sit down at 9:00 in the evening. And the last thing that they want to do is try to put a bunch of hours into researching what they want to do for fun. And so it's not that they can't do it. It's just like that has become a priority that they've had to shift away from what they're going to do. The other overwhelm comes from everyone says, oh my gosh, but it's so easy. You can find everything on the internet. You can just ask ChatGPT to like plan it for you. Of course you can. You can. I can't promise what you're going to get out of that. But it's also that there is just like sometimes too much information is too much information. They don't have a way to vet the location. They don't have a way to vet what people's actual experiences were. They don't have a way to vet what the service was really like. There are so many things to take into consideration. And so I have done and am doing constantly all of that behind the scenes research. I'm working with on the ground partners. I'm working with the general managers at specific hotels. I am going to learning days where I meet with suppliers so that they can tell me like what's up and coming, what's working really well, who's having a great experience with your product. And I do destination learning all the time online. So that is what I'm doing every day, all day long, while someone else is doing their job every day, all day long.
What are you most proud of personally and professionally?
Oh, I love this question. I think personally, I'm most proud that I am showing my kids that you can show up at any time of your life and do something that you really love. And, I was out of the workforce for a long time, helping my husband really build his business, which that's a whole nother, whole nother aside. But it was really fulfilling and it was wonderful and I loved it. But once he sort of had things in motion, I realized that there was stuff that I wanted to do. And just to be able to show my kids that like in your mid 40s, like you may have been out of the workforce for a long time. You may have been helping somebody else do something that they really love. And it's like never too late to do what you want to do. And so I think personally, that's been extremely, extremely fulfilling for me. And professionally, I'm a grinder and I want things to be done really well. And so I'm really proud. I have been able to double my sales every single year that I have been in business. And I feel I'm really proud of that. It has not been easy. I have learned a ton, but I'm pretty proud of that.
I love that answer and congratulations to you. That just speaks to your success and how good you are at your job. I'm sure you get a ton of referrals on top of everything, the new clients you've got coming in, because people have good experiences with you. They keep coming back. And so I know I've had a great experience with you and I would continue to refer you and come back to you as we continue to plan and travel things. Okay. So what is lighting you up right now?
What is lighting me up right now? I have been getting a lot more inquiries about like girls' trips. And that has been really fun for me I have done several of them. So, I see a group of girls and I went to Morocco and that it was just the most incredible trip ever. And so, of course, I was posting about it and people saw it. And so I've been getting a lot more inquiries about friends getting out of the group chat and into reality. And it really is just like lighting me up to plan that stuff because I think that a lot of times, as ladies, we're either working or we're doing the home stuff, right? And so there isn't a whole lot of bandwidth for the extra. And just to see a group of 10 ladies go to this like incredible country, very culturally rich place and experience all those experiences together was just awesome. And so those are the kind of inquiries that are just like totally just like giving me so much thrill.
That's so fun. And 10 women, I mean, I bet you that's just a good time too. And it's not like, when we were younger and you go to bachelorette parties and it's just like, a mess. It's like we're older, more established, wanting to do more quality things now. We like reservations when we show up for dinner. We don't want to be waiting. Like all of those things are important and they matter.
It does. It matters. And like, I think even just, knowing that you can go somewhere and stay at a really nice hotel and that, it is, it's just a little bit elevated, it's been really fun. It's been really, really fun. So I'm working on another one right now that's to Mexico City and San Miguel de Allende in Mexico. And so it's just giving me the thrill.
I mean, why are we doing all this work? And anyways, like if we can't go have fun and enjoy ourselves.
I mean, absolutely. And like you said it earlier when you were talking about just the Gen X sort of mentality. And it's like, yeah, we watched our parents like work and just, they put everything off until retirement. They said, we're going to grind and we're going to work and we'll do all this stuff. And then we will have our cake when we're 65. And our generation's like, bump that. We're not waiting until 65. That's too late. My body's not going to work as well then. I'm not going to have the energy. And it doesn't matter how much money I have at that point. Like, I want to experience that stuff now.
I was literally just thinking all of those same things. Like when you get to be 65 or 70, like, do you want to get on a plane for 8 hours and like have blood circulation issues? Or like, can you really carry around a 40-pound bag of luggage and like, get an Uber on your app and like all that stuff? Like those little things. No, I'd rather do them
Yeah.
right now when I'm in my 30s, 40s, 50s, So I'm totally agree 1,000,000% with that. Okay. So
Yeah.
as we wrap up, how can our listeners find you?
You can find me on Instagram. So my company started out as Go Family Adventure, and that is technically is my LLC, but you'll find me now on Instagram as Jen Barnes Travel. And so I'm like going through a big rebrand right now. And so everything's kind of changing. I'm going to have a new website that's up and running by fourth quarter. So I'm super excited about that. And then you can find me on LinkedIn as well, Jen Barnes. And yeah, those are really the two places that I'm showing up for the most part. All of this started as like a travel blog. And so I have like scrapped all of that. It's become a much more professional landscape for me. And so, yeah, Jen Barnes Travel is the place.
Okay. And I'll tag everything in the show notes for everyone too. So thanks, Jen.
Thanks, Caroline. This was fun.